What's shaking, bacon? Welcome to the KindaFunny podcast. My name is Nick Scarpino, and I will be hosting this podcast today, along with piloting this boat we're all on. Hey guys, can you smell that seawater? Doesn't it smell refreshing? With me today is the second best baby
Stinky.
blues in all of San Francisco, and he looks bundled up right now. And I
I'm
like
pretty
how cozy
bundled.
he looks, Mr.
I'm a little too
Chinguetes.
hot. I'm gonna take the jacket off.
You know what the problem is? It's that Pineapple Express wind that's coming in. It looks hot. It looks cold outside, but it's actually quite tepid. It's quite tepid. Joining us as well in the upper left-hand corner, back from LA, back from hot off the strip in Times Square. He is the Hispanic heartthrob, Texas Street Latino Heat clicking heads and ripping them to shreds. The Globetrotting headshot and nitro rifle from Twitch.tv, Andy Cortez.
I got a new kind of facial product.
Yeah.
It's those little things you put underneath your eyes for the bags or whatever.
Fun.
But it's in such a weird compartment kind of packaging, and there's a lot of liquid involved in it. There's a lot of liquid involved.
I would like a visual.
Yeah.
A lot of it fell on my bed.
Like out
as
onto
I was
your bed?
opening the packaging.
Oh yeah. You got to open
well-
that straight up.
Joe, so I'm kind of used to the individual Burt's Bees packaging. You rip them open. They're a little slimy, but there's no excess liquid. I'm not opening a fucking package of turkey breast and then all the liquid falls out. There's nothing like that. I'm just getting the two things. I slap them under my eyes and try to look less like a zombie.
But there's some extra like juice and like slime on the inside
Sure,
of the
yeah,
packaging, right?
But it's not. If you put me with a lie detector test and said, Andy, if you are true or false, if you said, Andy, if you are true or false,
basically any outcome, Andy, any outcome of this, you're screwed. And if you're true and or false,
Andy, if you don't answer correctly, we're gonna kill you, like death penalty, right? Gun to your head.
yeah.
And in that moment, they said, "Is this liquid or is this closer to liquid or closer to solid?" I would say closer to solid.
Plain issue.
Because you can't really I can't tip it out, and it's like a blizzard, DQ blizzard.
Not out.
It's like one of those.
It's like when they try to make like a watery caramel sauce on the Great British Bake Off, but then sometimes it caramelizes too much and they try to dump it out, and it's like, it's not liquid, but it's also not a solid.
Dangerous
it's
game.
halfway in between. Of course, that other voice you're hearing, people who are listening on podcast services around the globe, is it's Christmas in October. Miss Joey Noel.
Hello. So Andy, here's the problem with those eye things is that you just have to imagine all of the liquid/solids that are on the inside of the individual packaging. You put it all together because there's like 10 or 20 of them in there, and then it becomes a little loosey-goosey, you know?
Because
Also, are the ones that you have in there, are they more of a jelly texture or like
they're very jelly?
So those have more liquidy stuff than the like almost like paper disposable ones, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
Is that-
yes.
yeah.
This has so much liquid. It also has a scoop, like when you're
What is this
trying
thing?
out Breyer's
It's because
ice
they're
cream,
all like
Baskin
chunked
Robbins.
together, and so you don't have to put your grubby little fingers in there to peel one off,
And when I
and so
when
it stays more sanitary.
I pulled off the safety packaging on this little cylinder.
You don't
and
need this.
I can. There's so much. There's so much liquid in here. Nick,
So
I would
wait.
like to see you experiment with these.
They're honestly great. They feel so cool and refreshing.
So they're just to take care of the bags underneath your eyes. That's what they do.
The bags and a bit of the darkness underneath your eyes. It's called an energy drink for your.
You just
It's
love
like
those energy drinks. You're like, I can't get enough of them in me. Now I need them on me.
It's like an energy drink for your eyes, is what it
Let me
says.
see.
And-
Let me see where I'm at right now. Let me look at myself close up. Yeah, I definitely need those. I look a little worse for the wear. these
Yeah, and
days
it's
as we
something I've
push
been
through
noticing.
the
Like
Q4.
it's obviously something I'm used to in the morning, and
Mm-hmm.
it's why I wear my blue light blocking glasses even sometimes when I go out in public, because it helps kind of just cover my eyes that I don't like the way they look. And a lot of it was just in the morning, underneath my eyes they're puffy.
Yeah.
That's normal. That's like
Yeah.
Andy just woke up. He slept in longer than he should have. He's got to talk about a Star Wars thing or something.
Yep, vision.
And his eyes look weird. But even throughout the day, I feel awake, obviously, later on throughout the day, but the darkness is still there. And it's just something I don't like. I'm not comfortable with it,
Yes, I do know,
God bless
Andy,
you, Andy.
because
God
as a
bless
man,
you, Andy Cortez.
as a man who's 41 years old, Andy, the darkness is always right behind me, trying to take me in. But not today, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the Kind of Funny podcast where each and every week, 3 sometimes 4 best friends gather around these mics just to shoot the shit, the proverbial shit. Of course, if you like this and you're thinking to yourself, wow, I might need to get myself some of these weird eye things that only Andy uses as well. We can't help you with that. What we can help you with is more great content. And the way you can get that is by subscribing to our channel and our podcast feeds. Hey, did you know we do screencasts now? And that's a podcast feed. And Tim has told me to talk to everyone about that. And this will be the last time I do because I forget about it. So make sure you go over there and subscribe to those feeds. Give us some good ratings.
What's there right now, Nick?
Right now, we just did the Dune review. And if you if you think, hey, did they refer to it as Dune? They did not, and that's a huge missed opportunity. That's something that just occurred to me right now, Joey.
Do they do that in the movie?
They did. You didn't see that part where Oscar Isaac looked over at Timothée Chalamet and he was like, "Dude," he's like, "Dude," and he's like, "What's up?"
Oh, wow.
You know, it's actually Timothée Chalamet. We keep saying Timothée, but it's actually
Timothy. We don't. We don't.
Do you know that we collectively?
It's Timothée, right? It's Timothée.
It's not. We thought it was. Remember, we did that topic a long time ago where it was Tandy Newton, and we're like, "Oh my god, we're so disrespectful to Tandy." Sorry, Tandy. And then she called. And she was like, "Guys, it's cool. I've loved your podcast forever. Westworld was dope." And we saw that article that said it's actually pronounced Timothée. So we were like, "Oh, of course we want to be respectful to people's names, especially European names, because they're weird and have too many E's in them most of the time. Super different, fucking weird, and like accents. What you know? Anyway, I'm watching this clip that goes around yesterday on Twitter. Tim, you've heard of it. And there's a moment where it was one of those, like, it was Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya. That was the same article, right? Where we're like, oh, that's not how you say it. It's Zendaya. Anyway, they're both sitting there and they're asking questions and they have to introduce themselves. And he goes, "Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Timothée Chalamet." And my mind was blown. I'm like, I have, in an effort to be respectful to this man, I have been disrespectful to him.
And now you'll never, ever be respectful to anybody ever again.
No.
I love this. If Nick's going to be respectful to anyone, I'm very happy it's this kid.
Yeah.
First off, do not refer to Timothée Chalamet as a kid. Okay.
Excuse me. I just watched 3 hours of Jason Momoa referring to him as my boy. And I'm like, they couldn't say my man in this one for legal reasons, because I guess that's an Aquaman quote. But this one just my boy. I fucking love Jason Momoa.
Can we talk about Jason Momoa for a second, Joey?
Yes,
will you allow that, please? Joey, will you allow that?
I will allow it.
I love Jason Momoa. I think he has really, I think he's very entertaining to watch. I think he seems like a pretty great human being, right? But
where's this going? Okay, here's the but.
I know.
Here's the but. Okay. I like my Momoa with a side of beard. They cut to a part where we see Momoa midway through Dune. Huge Dune spoilers right now. Turn this podcast off right now if you don't want Dune.
If you don't want
don't do
Jason
this.
Momoa beard spoilers. Yeah, first off, don't spoil anything. Second off, beard spoilers. I'll allow it.
I will say what needs to be said, Andy. Okay, I will fucking spoil something if I think it's important for the state of our world.
Just to be clear,
our world.
Nick,
okay,
you shouldn't.
He comes back from going to Arrakis. He's the advanced team of Arrakis, and the first time we see him, he has no beard, and I got massive. I had shock go through me, and I remembered that time that I walked into the office and I saw the milk mommy for the first time, and I thought to myself, please never again. Please let this never happen again. Momoa, you have shook me to my core. Please grow the beard back immediately. Thank you. That's all I had to say. No further questions, Joey.
My core was shook as well. I was shocked.
Real quick, I looked into it. Like there's a video where he tells the story. He does, in fact, want to be called Timothy, but his father is French, and he was intended to be called Timothée.
Yes. But, I would like you to call me the Great One, Kevin. So please start referring to me as the Great One. And please start referring to Andy as the what
are you trying to take Wayne Gretzky's nickname?
When's the last time he was on the ice?
Think about that. Andrew, did you put these things on?
They look great.
They're real hard.
Is that what
I was not expecting that?
They're so hard to put on because Zenobia. I should just flip my camera. Who gives a shit what way I'm facing? I've been doing it all backwards in OBS. Like looking at, I could have just done it the other way. God damn it.
So they go
easy.
Speaking of
underneath
people
the
that do
iMac?
stuff that they probably shouldn't do stuff, shout out to our Patreon producers for supporting this show. I don't know why you keep doing it, but we love you very much, Prankski, Delaney Twinning, and Julian the Gluten Free Gamer. You are the best of the best. Thank you for that. Andy, now I want to try these. I want to be like, it feels like maybe it feels good to be smoothing these onto your face.
It definitely, like the texture of these, again, like Joey was mentioning, very jelly. These feel so much nicer to put on than the other ones. Yeah, it feels good, Nick. It feels very, very hydrating. It feels very good.
You do look good.
Thank you.
It's funny, Tim. I mean, like, he goes to New York, right? He gets his face up on the Times Square, and now he's just like, he's different.
It's a different lifestyle. You know, I was in LA last week.
Globetrotting. It's in the name.
Saw Dune before us because somebody called him and said, Andy, we just want to fly you to LA to hang out with you for a little bit. Yeah. And Andy was like, what am I going to do? And they're like, nothing. Nothing. You want to go see Dune with us? Have a nice dinner? Have a little sushi? And he was like, sure, I'll do that. It was
great. We actually went to a really nice Italian restaurant.
I was wrong.
Really good. called Toscano. I don't know if that's a thing.
Toscano?
Maybe. Is it a chain? Probably not. But
I don't know.
It's a really good place. Really enjoyed Toscano. I had one of those typical early Andy and Kinda Funny having to deal with flights moments that Tim kind of like
these are my
will always be like,
things.
of course it's Andy, of course.
I can't wait for this, Andy. I need it in my
for
life.
context's sake, can I tell the story of the first time you took a flight with us? We've told it before, but it's my favorite story ever.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely probably newer listeners, maybe not.
Based on our subscriber count, there's definitely not newer listeners. We are holding out with the same 14,000 people. Hey, guess what? We freaking love you. Hey, tell a friend though. You know what I'm talking about? Tell a friend. Tell him what's up. Andy's on his first trip with us, and it's like we're all sitting at the gate, and I've gotten there, of course. Kevin, Nick time. I get there 2 hours ahead of time. 3 hours if I think to do it, but 2 hours at least ahead of time, so I can have my third coffee by the time people come through the gate. And we're on the plane. We're like, what the hell's going on at this point? We're starting to board the plane. I think we actually got on the plane, and we text Andy, yo, where are you? And Andy's like, I'm still outside of security waiting for you guys. And we're like, no, you got to come through security. And it just was like ... Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I was very late. Tim had to let the people at the gate know that I was running late, and I was there so early. I don't know how I missed you all get there either. And it was one of those like horrifying moments, but also I wasn't sure how security worked. I thought we all just had to vouch for each other. Like if we get to the gates, like, are y'all cool or what? I'm like, yeah,
cool.
I know.
I know this guy, Nick Scarpino.
I want a reality where that's true, because think of how much we could mess with Kevin. Think of how much.
Okay, but do you remember last time we messed with Kevin on a flight? Not received well.
We'd do it one time. We'd all have a really good laugh, and then Kevin would be very angry with us, and we'd realize that maybe it's time to grow up.
Kevin is banging on my window because he just heard me say that. I don't know why Kevin's outside.
Kevin,
he's running the show.
I heard the garage open downstairs, and I was like, that can't be Kevin. We're in the middle of the show.
Unreal. Jesus
can we take a break from the story for a second to talk about Kevin taking the hardest spell of his life yesterday? And how unbelievably funny it was to me on so many levels that it happened.
Can we pull up all the videos in the edit?
This is how I know I'm a terrible person, because first off, I didn't realize it was Kevin. We pulled it up during the show, and because he's so far away in the Nest camera, I just thought it was another. I thought it was like a TikTok clip that someone was bringing up because it was like done to Gwen Stefani. Laughed my ass off when someone said it was Kevin. I gutturally laughed. It was like from a place I didn't know existed anymore. Kevin, I laughed, and then I thought to myself, actually, that looked like it hurt. Maybe we should check in on Kevin to see, because you caught that right in the tender spot of your armpit.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was glad to see you yesterday that you were doing okay, but now I want to watch it again so we can laugh at you.
We watched it on. We had to stop the in-review recording. We're about 2 hours in.
You watched it mid-in-review?
I just happened to click on it because it was in the Discord or in Slack or something.
It just starts laughing.
I laughed so
because we were talking
hard.
about on the stream.
Yeah, and it's just it's the motions, it's the arm motions. It's so violent.
We gotta watch this. Let's watch it.
It was very violent. It hurt a lot. Sorry, I
I issue a challenge to everyone out there because we ended up watching these clips that we'll watch again in a second in review yesterday during Spider-Man in review, which was almost 3 hours of us rewatching Spider-Man 1.
Absurd.
With Anthony Carboni. Fantastic content that I recommend everybody watch. But I want you all to find some Easter eggs. I want you to find the moment where I watch the clip privately and start laughing to myself. And then I want you to find the clip where Andy starts watching it and just starts laughing. Because there's a couple minutes where that happens before we even start talking about the clip. But really like funny. I hit play on it in Slack just because I was like, what is this? And when the Gwen Stefani music hits and Kevin just keeps going, it was...
Oh, wait. You want to watch that one or the
hilarious.
Original first?
I mean, the problem is, let's go with the original because I'm not trying to get copyright.
I don't want to get copy. It's not worth the copyright strike. But
what if Gwen Stefani likes the video though? What if she thinks it's funny?
That shit would be bananas.
What would it be, Tim? Would it be BANANA?
Thank you, Nick. Yeah.
Thank you. You didn't say that by accident.
Let's go.
I'm gonna play it.
Keep this shit up. I gotta watch this.
So you guys can't tell.
Slippery,
there's a branch right here that I hop over.
Oh.
It was really in slow motion. I don't know if Discord's fucking up.
Yeah, can you show it in fast motion and like real boy like
I don't know.
real
Is
motion?
it
Real boy motion? Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, I was like real boy. It's in slow motion.
Is it?
Yeah.
Now it's right. Now it's right.
God.
God, it is just so violent looking.
It
the motions of your head just whipping back like it is.
Yeah.
But it's also the motion of Kevin doing the thing that Kevin has historically done when on the and I will say this, we're not gonna start a rumor here, Tim, that Kevin falls down all the time. This is not something that we're gonna do.
Just so we're clear, I don't fall down all the time.
We're not, Andy.
You fell once
we're not
in E3
going to start
and once here. That's it.
When E3? Oh yeah, you're talking about at
There
the
was
studio,
the time
yeah.
he ran into the glass door, but
That
you know.
didn't fall, Tim.
Didn't
Didn't fall.
We've had 3 instances, 3 Kevin falling sightings that I know of.
Okay.
There was the one that you guys were just talking about. We'll just put that on there. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. There was the one where he decided to wear socks in the old studio.
It was hot.
And fell and bounced back up as if to say, nobody saw that.
It doesn't count. It doesn't count. It's the 5-second rule.
And then Andy and I
nobody had time for a picture.
But you can hear it in the KFAF episode.
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
see
it was
me and Andy react to it.
Yeah.
Was it the podcast?
Yeah, that was podcast.
That was podcast.
I always, this is the thing, I always pop back up just like this.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Right here, you're doing the thing that Kevin goes, nobody saw me. I'm going to pop back up. But there's a clear and obvious difference between these. There's a clear and obvious.
Uh-oh. He froze.
Uh-oh.
For a second, you go, nobody saw me. I'm just going to tough this out. I'm not going to rub it. And then the pain sets in your armpit, and you grab that arm so hard. And you're
but that's the thing. I don't think I grab the arm. I grab my armpit because that's where it hurts.
Yeah.
We also need to point out that we go live at, I don't know, it was like maybe 10:55.
Yeah.
And we are preparing to do a reaction to, what was it? Uncharted trailer. And Kevin's in the chat, and Tim is like, yeah, it's going to be 4 people, Kevin, so can you set up the shot? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be a little slower. We're like,
I'm a little discombobulated.
Why, you good?
I think
a little discombobulated. Like, why? What happened? He goes, I fell.
No, he didn't say that. He said, I took a tumble.
Yeah, it's one of my words.
That is such a 74-year-old thing to say.
And he sounded like he took a tumble. He sounded like he took a hard
real
tumble.
quick, I just want to give a little love to my boy Roger, who made this video that I love.
It's just
watching.
Wait. Hold on. This is the genius. This the adding the one more at the end. Something about it is just fucking brilliant.
God damn, dude. How is it that violent sounding?
I want somebody to make a version of this video with the play-by-play, like kind of red markers and like somebody like talking about it and just like, so here's where it all went wrong. Exactly. Because Kevin brought it up earlier, but like I love this video. Obviously, I'm probably gonna watch this video for the rest of my life in some way, shape, or form. But like, there's just
Kevin
so much
taking
to
a
love
tumble.
about it because we're also focused on the ending bits and like him, the fall itself, him walking up the stairs. I really want to give credit to Kevin's little hop over that branch. Like that's where it all starts to begin. You start to see him. He's confident, maybe too confident. As he goes into that.
The thing is, I clear the hop, and like,
he clears that every day.
I'm very focused on like the hop and landing it because I know these shoes no tread. It's funny because this is
You
all
want to tell
mixed.
what happened the night before, Kev?
Yeah, I need to know it.
Kevin, if you would have told me that
No, it was the
plank
night
of
after.
wood you
The night
hopped
of,
on,
right?
if you
No,
told
it
me
was the
that
night
plank,
before.
Where I almost
if you
fell
would have
down
told
the
me that
stairs
plank
to
of
the
wood
front.
just had Vaseline all over it, I would have believed it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was.
we
it
were
was
at a parking garage.
I
and
need
Kevin
the
almost beat it.
Vaseline.
Wait. We're all talking over each other. Joey, I want to know what happened to Kevin the night prior.
Oh, we
Was
went
he
and saw
drunk?
the French Dispatch on Tuesday night at Metreon,
Oh.
and it's been raining all week, which is why all of this is happening. But we're walking back to the parking garage to pay, and Kevin just slides and almost eats it in the middle.
But I don't.
Maybe we need to get Kevin
it.
some new shoes.
Yeah,
Maybe we need to
So
get Kevin some
that's
new
the thing. It's really funny because this is all like because Nick gave me shit about these shoes not being the other shoes. So I pulled them out of storage, and then I was like, I'm gonna start wearing them.
Are you wearing the not the Red Wings, but the other ones you have?
Eastland. Yeah.
The Eastland.
Yeah.
Kevin, you said, and I quote, I stopped wearing those things because they don't have any tread. They have like one line of tread on the bottom of them. You don't like them because of that.
Yeah. But
So
I love them.
So
Though.
what does this say? This is what happens when mommy and daddy fight, right? This is what happens. This is why you and I should know. We should always be a team against Tim, because when Tim pits us at odds together, people fall down and take a tumble.
It's totally
Take a
smooth.
hard tumble.
Totally. It had
You got it.
treads. You can see them here where the treads used to be, but I've worn them smooth. So this is just a death trap. But I love the way they look. So sometimes you got to risk it.
Yeah,
Can
you
you
gotta
not
get
buy
those things.
another pair of that same?
course.
Joey, I love how
Kyle?
worn they are. Look at them. Oh, I love them.
Wait, where am I? Am I seeing these somewhere? Are they
Yeah,
gonna
they're
watch?
little
They're
Kev's
the
showing
little
them down here.
Let me see little Kev.
I took a tumble.
They're so
Took
worn.
a tumble.
Kevin
Kevin
and I, we-
Coelho,
we
2021,
Okay.
Tim,
Back
when's your
to your
birthday,
story.
real quick?
June 30th.
Oh, come
Okay,
on.
I'm just trying to. I'm looking for the Kind of Funny podcast episode where Kevin falls. I'm just kind of. It's hard. Just put the date. I don't like 2 years ago to YouTube.
I'm sure that
either
live
means
chat
like
can find it.
23 months,
Yeah.
or 35 months. It's so fucking annoying.
True.
Real quick,
Yeah.
one thing I did want to say when you guys were, when I was very briefly in the garage, you guys were talking about like the TSA not being like an honor system of like, hey, man, this is my friend, he's good. It is. You have to remember that if someone with TSA pre books it,
Say something.
then what?
You see something, say something, right?
No, with TSA pre, like when Miller checks us all in,
Oh, that was great, Kevin.
then it's like suddenly magically we all have TSA pre. It's magic. I love
There
it.
was that one beautiful like 2-year period where Tim and Greg. My favorite thing that happens, Joey, is when Tim and Greg get competitive because I benefit every single time. Every single time, I don't have to compete at all. I don't have to be a part of this thing, and I benefit.
This
Tim
is
and
so
Greg-
true. I hate
It's-
how accurate what Nick is saying is. Like,
Fucking-
But I'm trying to think of it because I don't.
weasel boy just benefiting.
I'm having trouble thinking of when Tim and Greg get competitive.
It happens very seldom. It happens on multiplayer games. We used to do party mode before Tim canceled.
No,
it.
it's not that. It's one
but-
thing, and it's reward programs.
It's
That's
reward
it.
programs. Okay. There was a beautiful 2 to 3 year span when we first started the business. Probably right around the time Andy came on, where United, we were just like, damn it, we don't have a choice. I think it was the United Airlines. Oh no, it was
Well,
the
it's
Virgin
'cause
America.
We were Virgin, and we were
Right.
me and Greg Virgin till we die. You know what I mean?
Right.
Take that in any way
Absolutely.
you want to.
best
Obviously, Virgin's gone now. Greg has a baby. Coincidence? I think not.
Wow.
But
Wow.
Greg, fuck
Virgin went away and got replaced by Alaska, and Alaska was a fucking pain in the goddamn ass. So we had to shift over to United, and that's
Right.
when the race began again.
That's what it began again. So these two amazing human beings
Thank you.
start battling it out, and it starts at low key, right? Hey Tim, what's your which program are we doing? Tim, of course, Tim knows all about these programs because he loves to ski and this stuff and figure out like which program's the best. Rightfully so, right? And so you're smart, you take advantage of that stuff. I never do. But Tim's like, we're gonna do Virgin like has all the best flights. We like supporting that organization back in the day. They were really nice to the customers, great customer
We
service.
like the music video.
Everyone but me loved the music video. I thought a little overdone. And then it starts going like this, Andy. Wait, did you get your points from last flight? Yeah, I got my points. How many did you get? I got this many points. What'd you get? I got this many points. Oh, cool. And then by the time we get to United, it becomes who can get like the best status, who can get silver
Platinum
first.
status.
Well, Andy,
It was the race to silver
multipliers.
first.
They're
Yeah.
multipliers, right?
Oh yeah,
So you
yeah.
get
And
more
Tim
points.
figured out all of them. So Tim starts buying pineapples left and right or some shit like that because he's like, if you buy a pineapple, but it's so funny because the way Tim will do it is he'll be like this. He'll scheme. He'll reverse engineer it. He'll go, how do I get all the guys to buy pineapples on my credit card so I get all the reward points so I can do these things?
That's what it
So
is.
we'll do a topic on like Gamescast about
like,
pineapples.
I'll cover it. You can Venmo me.
Exactly. You can
Nick,
Venmo me.
oh my God, Nick, the time that I was wanting to shop around for credit cards and Tim was salesman number 1 being like, Andy, here's what you got to do. You use my reference number. You get in there. I was like, damn, now it's all making sense. He just wanted to come out on top.
Tim's like, how do you want? You want to go to Hawaii real quick? And you're like, yeah, he's using the hard sell.
What do I got to do to get you in this car today?
The funniest thing though about these systems is like over time they've gotten so good because they cracked the code. They know that all it takes is one Tim Geddes to then create an Andy Cortez and a Greg Miller and XYZ. It's like they need to just make good products that have good reward programs. You sell someone else on it, and then they're in the program. The problem is then that I have competition.
Yes,
so I need to stop recommending people. It's working against me now.
Stop doing it. You gotta stop doing it. But it was great. It was glorious for a while, but now it's time to be selfish. I will say though, it drove me to being, I think I got silver on United that first year, and then eventually it all went to shit. But the best thing ever, I'll say it right now. I've had a lot of great days in my life, right? I married my best friend. I love her to death. I look forward to seeing her every day. But the best day of my life is when I got TSA Pre. By far. I mean, it's not even it's a wide margin. And I think Dee would agree with that. I think she loves me too. But I think if I was like, hey, if you could get married to me again or get TSA Pre again, she would fucking take TSA Pre heartbeat. I can hear her in the room laughing next door right now.
It is a game changer.
Dude, I use that. I used to see people. I'm like, I don't care. I'll wait in line. I'll wait my turn in line because I'm a productive member of society. The second I got TSA Pre, I turned into an elitist asshole.
Dude,
and I'm never
Nick,
going
it was
back.
so like. It was so cool because they'd always go in their little TSA Pre tiny line, and then you'd wait with me, and you would talk hella shit. You would just be like, assholes. "Fuck them," they think that they're fucking cool. They're not cool. Fuck them. And then the fucking
I'll never forget. This is how ruthless I am with this shit. Where I was telling G, I'm like, yo, Gia, you need to do this shit. You need to step your game up. Here's what you need to do. We're going to do this together as a team. And she's like, I don't know, whatever. And I'm like, you got to do it. I was like, I will leave you. I will leave you behind. And guess what I did, everybody? I left her behind. I'll never forget it. We were at Austin. The line was long. And I'm like, I'm going to that. You can hang out with Nick.
And she left. And what's funny is I was like, this is what you've sown for yourself, Gia. Look at the company that you're keeping right now. Actually, I think I might have had
TSA.
Yeah, you got to get it. And when none of us can take air flights anyway. But one of my friends was in town this week, and I got a chance to catch up with her for a hot second earlier today from Austin. And she's like, "Do you guys think you guys will do that convention again?" And I really started thinking, I was like, God, I really hope so. I really, at this point, like the first year, you know me, Tim. I'm like, I don't know, conventions, they're for the birds, right? So can't we all just do this virtually? Do I need to leave my house? Year 3, I'm like, I would like to go back to Austin and hang out. And seeing Jeff last week, I'm like, I miss everyone.
RTS got the stuff.
They do got the stuff. They got the music.
Such a good show.
Right?
So,
movies.
Here is
what
the most
to you,
Andy story.
Let's go.
And it all like I can immediately teleport back in time. Time travel is what some people call it. And I can go back in time and then look at that moment and then go, God, I wish you would have fixed that because then this situation would be a lot easier. Before I flew at all, I signed up for one of them Southwest things back when I worked at Rooster Teeth. And I signed up myself as Andy Cortez.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Not Andres Cortez.
That was a big mistake. Huge mistake.
And I'm a clear member. And every time I do it, super easy. They go, oh, I go, yeah, I got the name sort of differentiation thing. And they go, oh, no problem. Just scan your eyes. We'll take you up down. See your ID? Cool. Never been a problem. Flew to LA with it. And I know Southwest, this is, even though it's LAX, it's Southwest Airlines. There ain't shit going on in this goddamn terminal. This is like the easiest goddamn thing to deal with.
It.
Whenever I fly United, I'm definitely like Nick. I'm like 2.5 hours early. I'm always ultra paranoid. Southwest ain't shit going on here, right? And honestly, pretty lovely. The terminal, just like it's so easy to get in and out. God dang, I wish Southwest is like easier to like just deal with, on a whole. And I walk up to the clear dude. I end up leaving my hotel later than I usually do. I gave myself about an hour 15 of time to deal with.
Oof, Andy.
An hour 15 for LAX.
You know that's not the right
LAX Southwest, though, Joe.
I don't think LAX needs any qualifiers, though.
No, LAX is like the worst. The LAX is one of the most, for people who don't live in California, probably one of the busiest airports in the United States.
Because
wait,
and it's always under construction.
I'm doing the math wrong. I'm sorry. I'm doing the math wrong. It was like more. It was more like an hour and a half. I guess that's not much more, but I normally get there terrible. 2 hours early. I'll leave the airport so that I could get there with 2 hours to spare.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This time perfect. I left like 2 hours early so I can get there with about an hour and a half to spare. And I get there, I'm like, this is gonna be totally good. I go to the clear line. Fucking there's like, I don't know, 15, 20 people in line. There ain't shit going on here. Talk to the clear lady. She's like, yeah, sure, no problem. We'll get your name check up there. I'm walking through the line. She takes me through the little area, and also I have clear because I forgot to cancel my clear. Yeah. If y'all don't know what like clear is,
2 years.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure I still have AMC stubs.
If y'all don't know what clear is, you sign up annually, you pay a certain amount of money, and then you get pushed to the front of the line.
It's,
and
by the way, TSA people, I think I speak for all of us, fucking hate these clear people. We hate you guys.
Well, Nick, some people have the double. Some people
why
double
not
up.
Both, baby? If you get the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, it gets you clear for free.
Wow. What do I got to do to sign up for that? Tim, what do I got to do to sign up?
Use promo code Tim Geddes. Tim Geddes.
Let me know. Oh shit! Wow. So and also for the longest time, I thought clear. This is the dumbest thing about me. Holy fuck. This is like, I know one of the topics we want to talk about later is like, what are some embarrassing things about yourself that you've never told anyone? I've actually mentioned this before, but this is one of those embarrassing things. I am so like, just such a noob at flying that I thought Clear was, hey, sign up for this Clear 4G wireless card and we'll get you to the front of the line. That's what I thought it was. Because Clear.
So funny.
Was a brand of mobile phone stuff when I worked at Best Buy. Or whatever. Yeah. So I thought it was like, who would sign up for a mobile hotspot to get to the front of the line? What a pain in the ass. So anyway, that's what I thought Clear was. But Clear's been great. And it's always fantastic with me whenever I'm on United. But, you know, Southwest, different story with my name being Andy. They take me to the front of the line. Guy asked me to pull my mask down, just like the lady in SF asked me to pull my mask down on the flight to LA. Pull my mask down, verify the ID, and he goes, "No, I can't do this." I was like, "Why?" He's like, it's just you know, the name, blah blah blah. I'm like, "All right, so like I just got to go wait in line." He goes, "No, you can't board the flight." I'm like, "What? What do you mean I can't board the flight?"
Right.
How is that like? We need consistency between these airports because the amount of time I get yelled at for putting the bag on the fucking thing through security, and they're like, "No, put it on a crate." I'm like, "Well, the fucking last 8 people didn't tell me to put it on a crate." Like, there needs to be some consistency because I got here with this. How am I not able to go back with this same thing? You know. Oh and he's like, "Yeah, you just can't get on the flight. You'll have to call Southwest and get it fixed, or no, go to the help desk to get it fixed."
Yeah.
Where's the help desk? They point at you like, well, you got to go back out. You're
back at the baggage area, Tim.
Yeah.
So I'm walking over to the, and luckily there's a nice old lady near where you actually get in line. She goes, "What happened?" I go, it's a long story. My ID says Andres. I sign up as Andy. She was like, okay, well, once you get your thing situated, come right back to me. I'll do it. And I was like, oh, awesome. Very cool. Go to the help desk, and they're like, no, we don't do that here. You'll have to call customer service. And I'm just like, all right, we're cutting it like kind of close.
Mm-hmm. Now you're
Because
starting to
by this
sweat,
point,
right?
I'm starting to sweat, Nick.
Yeah.
I'm starting to sweat because I know who knows how long it's going to take to be on a call. And also, I'm not aggressive enough to be like, I need to talk to the fucking manager right now, person on the phone. I'm just nervous as hell. I just walk back to the clear spot, and they're like, so I really can't get on the flight. And they're like, no, we also had some security issues earlier. It's like, okay, fuck. Nice old lady comes and walks over, and she goes, what's the problem? They're gonna make me call customer service. They wouldn't help you over there. And she goes, do you want me to talk to a manager? And I said, yes, I would, lady.
Yes, please.
Yes, I would. Because you're wearing the suit. You've got security. You've got the badge.
You seem to know what's going on.
And I've never felt more like helpless, but also like the knight in shining armor came up to pick me up and like,
nice.
We're going to ride on this dragon. We're going to leave, right? And she's like, do you want me to get a manager for you? And I said, I would love that. And she was like, I can do that. She goes and she leaves, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I felt like I was doing something embarrassed, or I was like doing something illegal, like when Tim asked for Mike and he's like, this is gonna work, this is crazy. And then the manager comes over, and I don't know why look, I know people at airports deal with a lot of bullshit. I know they do. But why do every one of them feel the need to act like I have just been arrested and I'm pleading my case? Why do they always have to have this sort of like, like you're guilty right now? Right. I don't give a fuck what you're telling me right now. And so the security lady's walking over with the manager of whoever the fuck of the manager of airport. We'll call her.
Hello, I'm Bill, the manager of airport.
She just walks up to the line and she looks at me and doesn't say a thing. Like she's kind of like,
you're like, you were on my side. You were on my side.
No. She's cool still, Nick. She's still cool.
It's the manager.
Manager lady is just walks up and she just like doesn't say a word to me. As if like, all right, let's hear it. But not even in like a, if it's me, I'm like, okay, so what's the problem, sir? What's going on? Totally. She just walks up, like also mask on. So she just walks up.
How are you gonna waste my time now? Without saying that.
Dude, she's straight up like, Tim, she leans on the fucking security guardrail thing. She just leans and just kind of like, it's basically rolling her eyes.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn. All right, so like, do you want me to talk? And I was like, so my name is Ron. And I'm like super nervous now because like, why are you acting all mean, lady? Like, my real name is Andres, but when I signed up for this thing like 6 years ago, I'd never really flew, so I put Andy, which is my nickname. And she's just kind of waiting there. And honestly, Nick, it's like the Paul Hollywood handshake. Yeah, I'm like, what are you gonna give me right now? No, are you gonna look at? Are you gonna look at your other like teammates and kind of like stick out the hand, or are you gonna say this is atrocious?
Yeah.
And she just honestly, she does neither. She just kind of looks and she goes, "Come this way." But it's like, you're helping me out, and I appreciate this.
Right.
But why are you so fucking rude about it?
What do you mean? Just a little bit.
I don't get it, Tim. I don't like, they treat everybody in airports like they're fucking an inconvenience. Like,
is this, so wait, this is a Southwest person, not a TSA person.
No, this is TSA at this point.
Okay.
This is TSA at this point, yeah, because the dude who doesn't let me on is the one who checks your boarding pass.
That's TSA.
Got it.
Yeah, that is TSA. And this lady is his manager. So she brings me up, and dude is still sitting there like a little bitch, dude. Just sitting there. And honestly, it reminded me of me back in the day slinging laptops at Best Buy during the recession when I'd be like, no, we can't give you this on a sale. No, I'm not going to take off that much money. And they grab a manager, and then my manager's like, yeah, go ahead. And I just have to sit there like, you know the meme of like the really sad like dog, the meme, the really weak looking meek dog. You know that meme, Joe?
No.
It's always like the big strong dog and the little weak dog, and they compare like different. Anyway, I look like a little sad weak dog. I just like was kind of sitting there, but this is what this dude felt like, because she was like, I'm overriding your powers, sir. Get out of the goddamn way. Get this man on the plane. and the dude had to like scan me in, and I felt so triumphant. And then of course, like obviously that's pretty much the whole story. But then just like DLC content, the amount of like I'm hearing the lady, the bags, all laptops, everything out of the bags, taking the laptops out. Guys like, no, laptops don't come out. I'm like, well, what's she saying over there? Like, what?
Now they're just messing with you at this point.
It's a fucking mess. It's a goddamn mess. I hadn't flown in a while. I was very, very nervous. And that's the story of how Andy still likely won't ever update his name with Southwest.
Andy, it's so easy.
It's not hard. I will say this. I had a Southwest credit, and Southwest historically in my brain has been like, it just has a negative connotation in my brain for just whatever reasons. I don't know why. I called the Southwest person and I was like, hey, this credit that I've had is supposed to expire yesterday, basically, but I'm wondering if there's any way you guys can see it in your heart to give me this credit for another month, because I'm going to book a flight to go see my mother for her birthday. And the woman's looks at, like, I hear the typing, and she goes, oh, sir, we've actually, due to COVID, we've gone ahead and just scheduled that out so you can use it for another 6 months. And
wow.
I was like, what?
Oh.
I'm like,
I thought she was going to be like, I bet you don't even have a mother.
Nope.
She was going to say
she was so accommodating and so nice. It was to the point where I'm like you, Andy. I'm just super jaded with all this stuff now. I'm like, what am I being sold? Like, when's the other shoe going to drop? What do you need, lady? Do I have to get a Chase Sapphire card right now? Because I'll be honest with you, if this is the level of service I get from you, I will buy this credit card right now. Use hashtag Tim Geddes for the promo code.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually they were lovely, and because there's not that many people in the airport right now, the flight was great too. Everyone was nice the last time I did Southwest, so shout out to Southwest for that. But I just feel like LAX is a different story. San Francisco, every time I go now, the last few times I've been, granted it's been twice in the last 2 years, ghost town, awesome. Nothing more powerful than thinking I got this whole terminal to myself. This Illy coffee is mine right now, and it's going to change eventually. But ladies and gentlemen, before we go on, we'd like to tell you about our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Puzzle Bobble 3D Vacation Odyssey. Get ready for the vacation of a lifetime with Puzzle Bobble 3D Vacation Odyssey, out now for PlayStation 4 and 5. Puzzle Bobble 3D is the first ever 3D Puzzle Bobble game, which adds a whole new dimension of challenge and fun to classic Puzzle Bobble formula. Test your wits and blast through 100 three-dimensional puzzles with added depth and physics, or jump online and challenge a friend in a fast-paced duel mode. And with PlayStation Cross-Buy, if you purchase a copy for PS4, you receive the PS5 version at no additional cost. If you've ever dreamed of transforming into a dragon, there's also an option to play fully in PlayStation Virtual Reality. Puzzle Bobble 3D Vacation Odyssey is out now on the PlayStation Store. Head on over to start your bubble poppin' adventure today. Are you ready for mashed potato season, aka turkey with gravy and cranberry sauce season, aka every kind of pie and more season? Well, MeUndies is here with the softest and stretchiest undies in the game, so you can be ready for seconds and thirds, baby. I love MeUndies. I have for a very long time. Even right now, of course, I'm wearing my lounge pants, the undies themselves, and the socks. I love having that soft micromodal fabric all over my body. They have undies and loungewear made out of soft, breathable, stretchy fabrics that are perfect for everything from pre-dinner activities to post-dinner naps. MeUndies also has a great deal for you guys. For any first-time purchasers, you can get 15% off and free shipping. MeUndies also has a promise. If you're not satisfied with any product for any reason, you can return your order for a full refund within 45 days. To get 15% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. And next up, shout out to Trade. Are you the kind of person who falls asleep already thinking about the next morning's coffee? Well, Trade's goal is to make every cup of coffee your best ever. The journey to your perfect cup starts with taking their coffee quiz. You use a French press, automatic drip, you're a cold brew person? No problem. Trade will match you to coffees you'll love from 400 plus craft coffees, and will send you a freshly roasted bag as often as you'd like. Trade guarantees you'll love your first match. On the off chance that you don't, though, they'll replace it with a different bag for free. Me and Cool Gray had a lot of fun going through the quiz, trying to find him his perfect coffee, and he has been having a great time with Trade. For you guys out there right now, Trade is offering your first bag free and $5 off your bundle at checkout. To get yours, just go to to drinktrade.com/kindafunny and use promo code kindafunny. Take the quiz to start your journey to the perfect cup. That's drinktrade.com/kindafunny, promo code kindafunny for your first bag free and $5 off of your bundle. That's drinktrade.com/kindafunny.
Okay.
I also wanted to point out, because I flew into Burbank. I thought I was flying out of Burbank, and I'm so glad I checked, Joe, because
jeez, that would have been a disaster.
Oh, Andy.
That's a big mistake.
It would have been really bad, yeah. And I was like, Tim, I was like booking the Uber and then decided, let me double check. It was one of those things.
Well, that's happened to me while I've been working at KindaFunny. Blessing and I were going to a preview event for some game. I don't remember what.
Persona.
Oh, that's what it was. And we were going to LA, and they booked us going into 2 different airports from San Francisco. So like I thought that my flight information was the one that we needed to go off of, but Blessing's flight was like 45 minutes earlier than mine, but we didn't realize until we got to the airport. And then it was like, why are you flying us into 2 separate airports, even though we're going to the same hotel? And it's just a disaster.
So we use this thing called TripAdvisor is an actual real company, right?
Yeah, that's like where you go to book. Like
this is called Trip Actions.
Different.
Really neat in theory. Didn't work out so great, but Trip Actions essentially what it does is it's a company that kind of manages whenever somebody wants to fly out like a group of 50 people, 30 people to something. Trip Actions is like, here are the flights, here are the hotels, and you do it all through there. You download the Trip Actions app, you log in, and it shows you like, here's all your flight, boarding pass, blah, blah, blah. Here's all the hotel info. It all just kind of, it's really neat. And, you know, I think Twitch did a pretty good job of having everybody go out there. But I flew into Burbank knowing that I wanted to be a Burbank dude because it's so dead, Joe. I flew
Even
there,
though it's
I
like
landed.
A fake movie set.
It reminded me of landing back home whenever I fly to McAllen, Texas, where I deplane at noon and I'm in my mom's car by 12:12. Like it is just such a fast turnaround, and Burbank is just like that. And then you know, I guess I somehow booked LAX on the return flight, and I'm so glad I double checked that because that would have been another nightmare. And also in absolute Andy classic fashion, I had all my flight booked. I'm ready to go on this LA trip. That one part of my brain booked that. The other part of my brain booked a Hispanic Heritage Month stream on Sunday as well during the flight.
Mm-hmm. That's smart.
And at no point did they ever think that they were in conflict with each other.
We got to get Andy and Andres on the same wavelength. Okay, that's what's happening here. We got 2
Andres
personas.
Has his shit together. Andy, not so much.
Dude, what a fucking mess I was of like.
You're just out of practice, man.
And like the flight has been booked for several days. It's Friday after the workday, and I'm doing a test stream with the people at Latinx and Games, and we're setting everything up, making sure that the stream's running well so that we could stream on Sunday. And like Tim even calls me like, "Oh, I'm testing out a little stream right here." My brain parts think that like, no, these are conflicting. You can't fly out and be on a stream at the same time, Andy. And it wasn't until Saturday. I'm just kind of like chilling at night. I'm like, I got the stream tomorrow. I also have the flight tomorrow. And I just kind of like, and I was like, oh my God, I had to email everybody. And I was so embarrassed being like, I don't know how I did this. I truly don't. I wish there was some explanation for it, but there just isn't. And I have no, like, I apologize. I have no explanation. So that's another fucking stupid ass Andy thing.
That happens. It happens, especially when you're out of practice traveling. A lot of embarrassing things happen to us sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. And Julian, the gluten-free gamer, would like to know about some of those embarrassing things that we have done that nobody. Our patreon.com/kindafunny. He backs us over there as one of our Patreon supporters.
Did Nick cut off for everybody or just me?
He did.
Yeah,
it happened to you a couple times.
Yeah, it's been like turboing up.
I will just for a sec.
That's weird.
Hot second. Of course, if you guys want to write into the show and have us answer questions, you can go over to patreon.com/kindafunny. Back us at that tier, and we will answer some of your questions, just like Julian's question. What are some of the most embarrassing things you've done that nobody knows about? He has, for example here. My partner just told me that while she was at a gelato stand during a festival in Hoboken, she awkwardly smacked the tip jar over all of the money spilled inside the cart and into the gelato. The stand had to be closed down. She was too afraid to tell anyone. That's hilarious.
That is amazing.
That's a good
That is
one.
hilarious.
That's good because there's layers to that. Nick, I want to give you a shout out. I know that like because the tech mixed up and stuff, it's a little far away. But Andy mentioning embarrassing things and you segueing with that, I heard it. I saw the setup. I knew where we were going. I was like, I hope Nick does it. I hope he does it. And fucking slam dunk, Nick.
We're
good
back
job.
into it.
Good
Finally,
job.
finally, the title of an episode is about
Nick did well.
be professionals.
His voice cut off.
Yeah,
That was perfect. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Your voice cuts off as you're about to compliment yourself, Nick.
Yeah.
Well, there it is. There it is. Should I restart Discord, do you think? Is it a problem on my end, or do you think it's just Discord?
I think it's
just Discord. Yeah.
'Cause Andy's was doing it
Yeah, I'm
earlier.
pretty sure
but-
it's just Discord.
All right.
It's unfortunate. So this
You
is
guys-
a tough question
Yeah.
because we've been thinking about it. You brought it up on the post show a couple weeks ago, and like, oh, we need more time to think. And I've been trying to think, and even going into this, we kind of had a group discussion.
Right.
It's hard because we spend our lives telling stories, and we are very self-deprecating. So we've kind of told all of the stories. So forgive me if I have told this one before, but I want to say it because I am not lying to you guys when I tell you that at least once every couple months, I have a nightmare about this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it
been
comes
there.
back to me.
I've been there.
And I think about it and I'm just like, fucking hell, how did you mess this up? It was the Final Fantasy 15 Uncovered event. So it was the biggest, to this day, probably the biggest thing I've ever hosted.
That's where you and Greg hosted on stage, right?
Me and Greg
was
were at the
there.
Shrine Auditorium. Joey was there.
I was there too,
There
I
were
think.
7,000 people there. 7,000 fucking people watching me and Greg announce the final release date for Final Fantasy 15. That's not true. It got delayed like 2 days after. But it was this whole huge fucking event. And one of the coolest things about it was like an hour long. And we were presenting a whole bunch of info about the Final Fantasy 15 universe. There was a movie being made, and Florence and the Machine were like collabing on some music, and like we interviewed Lena Headey and the dude from Breaking Bad, Aaron something, Aaron Paul, and crazy stuff, cool stuff all around. But one of the special things that we were gonna do is the composer of Kingdom Hearts, of all the Kingdom Hearts soundtracks, and the composer of Final Fantasy 15, who is one of my favorite composers of all time. Like Kingdom Hearts, I know it's not for everybody. The music is. It's fucking incredible. It's so epic. It's so good. And Final Fantasy 15, same thing. Like one of the best features of the game for sure. And you guys know how much I love music. You guys know how much I care about the scores of things. So it's like, this meant something to me. They personally asked me because they knew that. They were like, hey, she is going to be in the audience and it's her birthday or something like
pressure.
that. It was something.
pressure for me.
So like,
I don't know if I've heard this.
we're not going to have her on stage and we're not going to do anything, but like, we want you to call her out and like celebrate her. She doesn't speak English. So like, don't have a conversation or anything, but just kind of like make the moment about her. The camera will go and whatever. So her name is Yoko Shimomura. Okay.
You're never doing that, right?
But my thing is, I've said it right hundreds of times
Sure.
in my life. I end up talking about her a lot because I am a big fan. What do I say when I'm very nervous and very scared to not fuck up this one moment?
Oh, no.
One of the only moments that was like truly off book where it was unscripted because they wanted to surprise her. Like there was no script for this thing, but there was like a run of show of like me and Greg insisted we didn't want teleprompters. We're like, we're just going to go up and we're just going to fucking own it because that's who we are. I don't know why. Like, that's who we are, but that's who we are. But this was the one moment they're like, we don't even want to put this on the script because it's a surprise for her. She doesn't know it's coming. So I'm overthinking this one moment so hard. And one of the first fucking things out of my mouth, I just call her Yoko Shimura. And I just blend it all together so quickly. It's so clearly wrong. I know I'm saying it wrong.
Now
I'm
you're-
on
now you're
stage in front of
sweating. Now you're
7,000
sweating.
people. There are millions of people watching. And literally all I could think of this moment was, I know that everyone's watching at home. I know that everyone at IGN, this was months after we left IGN. So I'm like in my head about it all. I'm like, I know
doesn't have the
that
goods.
there's the whole editorial pit are watching this
What a
live, and
mistake to leave.
They're all fucking rolling their eyes at me and they're all like, this fucking idiot. And like, I know it sounds stupid, but it's the fact that I'm a legitimate fan. I own vinyls and CDs that this woman has created. Like, I am so in and I fucked it up. And it haunts me.
Man.
It fucking haunts me, man.
That is a huge point of anxiety for me. So like this is something that I think I've talked about this before, but when I'm hosting shows and there's a guest, the anxiety starts about 2 days before, where I go, you got Adi Shankar on the show tomorrow. You've said his name 1,000 times. It's a very easy name to say. It rolls off the tongue very easily. But there's that moment when you're doing the introduction, joining the show again for the second time to talk about his new project, Guardians of Justice. My brain goes blank.
Yep.
And that has happened so many times. I have to write it down in front of me. Now I'm actually I'm okay at it now, largely because of comedy. Because comedy, you have to like hear someone's name, remember it, and then like 5 minutes later say it. And it's always a name. Like sometimes you know the person because of your friends. Sometimes it's a person from out of town. You're like, I've never heard this person's name before. But man, there have been times on like shows when I'm hosting comedy where I'm up there. I'm like, your next comic coming to the stage, super funny guy coming all the way out of show. I'll remember things of this person's life that they didn't even tell me. I'll be like, wait to the University of Chicago, loves Chicago-style pizza. His favorite is Canadian bacon and pineapple. Please welcome to the stage. And my brain just goes to the shelf, and there's nothing there. And then it goes like this. You're on your own on this one. And I'm like, funny, him, this guy. And you have to just start clapping and hope to God the guy understands that you forgot his name and makes a joke about it. It's a lot, Joey.
Oh, man.
It's a lot. I've had those embarrassing moments before. It's funny too, is like I have a weird thing where like I will get freaked out. We had Jeff on the podcast, and I know Jeff's name is Jeff Ramsey, but there will be a moment where because I've screwed it up before, I'll have that moment of like panic, even though I'm like, this is a close personal friend of mine that I'm having on, but it is what it is. Joey, what are some embarrassing moments that nobody knows about other than losing things and booking small theaters?
2 that I can think of. Andy made me think of one because one of them is at KindaFunny. My like first year. So it's my first year, the first time I'm traveling with KindaFunny.
The forks.
Fucking I hate you.
Oh man.
You're the worst.
I'll tell you what, Andy. That is a moment that will live in infamy forever.
It's not one that nobody knows because everybody saw it.
From both sides. I don't understand.
Definitely one that everybody knows about.
I hate you. Traveling is kind of funny for this time. I like to think of myself as a seasoned traveler. I went to college and lived in Southern California for 10 years. I would fly back and forth all the time to see my parents, see my family, see friends, etc., etc. I know how airports work.
Right.
I flew with Greg and Jen. I forget we were going somewhere. The night before, I plugged in my phone, set my alarm. Traveling with KindaFunny in a work sense almost always means you're taking like the first flight out. I feel like early morning flights, set my alarm. It'll
always
be fine.
A mistake. Always a mistake.
Huge mistake.
Always a mistake.
It's always something you think is smart. We need to like. I'm sorry to just quickly interrupt, Joey.
No,
and I'll let you get right back to it. But we really need scientists to get to the bottom of the psychology that goes through your brain when you say, yeah, this sounds like a great idea. I'll fly really, really early and I'll get there early and feel like super good because you sleep an hour and a half and you feel like fucking shit for the next 2 days. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine. Phone. I don't know what happened. I think my phone charger fell out of the wall. So my phone didn't charge. So it died in the middle of the night. My alarm doesn't go off. I wake up the next morning in a panic. I was already supposed to leave for the airport. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to miss this flight. This is the first official work flight I've ever taken with KindaFunny. This is mortifying on like a work sense. Like, I think at this point we were flying to PAX East. So like, this was like a work like partnership flight that I am now missing for stuff that I'm supposed to do at PAX East with Greg. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is mortifying. I luckily had already packed because that is always a 50-50 question mark when I go on flights on if I'm packing the morning of or the night before. Get to the flight. I am running. Greg is like, are you here yet? I was like, I am driving. Like, I am really trying my hardest for this.
There's nothing like letting Greg down.
No.
And it's just me and Greg.
Yeah. Oh, it's just the worst. Because when he texts you like, "Where are you?" It's like, oh fuck, that's on.
No, he doesn't text you. Where are you? He texts ETA ?
Yeah. Oh my God. Whatever it is. Yeah.
I'm like, get the fuck.
Like it's his fault.
I'll be late to a production meeting, and he'll go ETA ? ETA on this production meeting. I'm like, you know what, buddy? It's the ETA is the time it takes me to wake up and walk to my next.
Very condescending buddy, right there.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I'm running through the airport, get there just in the nick of time. Nailed it. Literally, not maybe less than a month later, Greg and I are on another early morning flight to go do something together.
Yep.
The night before, I think we were leaving on a Friday. I think we were doing like a weekend thing. The night before, we went out. We used to go to trivia all the time. Thursday night trivia. We were celebrating something, and I don't remember what. And I definitely had like one drink too many to the point where I was like, oh, I'm going to regret this tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Forgot to plug in my phone.
Oh, you don't need that
my phone died again. So I wake up the next morning and I'm like, fuck. Like, I cannot have this happen twice in a row with Greg. Like, he's going to fire me.
Yeah.
He's absolutely going to fire me.
Little did you know, the punishment for messing up a KindaFunny is way worse than firing.
You guys will never let me forget it. That's 100% what it is.
This is the thing that haunts me. Like, honestly, I probably prefer disciplinary action at a corporate level. But when I screw anything up, it's just the long-term memory that this company has for our screw-ups.
Oh,
I'll never forget.
Joe, I mean, it immediately, the anxiety kind of starts to spill in, and I go, I'm losing all the goodwill I had over these 2 weeks, and now they think that I'm probably taking advantage of the fact that they let me like kind of squirt by the first time, you know. It's the worst. Like, there'd be times I was always there in class, like right on time, and then like the 5th week I'm late as fuck, and then the next week I am late as fuck again. I'm like, oh no, I don't want them to think that this is like who I am. And
I'm that
just like,
guy.
it sucks. Yeah.
So wait, did you get to the airport the second time?
So that time I had to drive to the airport because I didn't have like, getting an Uber was absolutely not going to make me get there.
Right.
So I'm texting Greg and he's like, okay, like I'll see what they can do to like hold the flight. I was like, oh, this is so embarrassing. Not to mention
to Greg's credit, he'll do it.
He
Greg will go up and he will schmooze and he will tweet.
He'll go up.
Do whatever he's got to do.
I'm Greg Miller from the internet. Listen.
So I get to the airport. I am running through the airport. I am not a runner. I'm sure I look insane. I had to be the girl that's like, I'm about to miss my flight. Can I cut the line? And everybody's like not happy with me, but I had, and I hate that person. I don't want to be
like
that person.
Like, imagine you put a knife in your hand. How like that's how crazy you look.
Yeah. And I look insane. All of this, I am either still kind of I wasn't drunk. I was definitely hungover, where I was like, I just feel like trash. Like, I can't, like, I have the worst headache. I would like to just be back in bed. This would be great. Then I make it on the plane, literally like the last person on the plane. I'm walking by Greg and Jen as they're in the row in front of me. And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, no, not really. I finally get all my stuff in. I sit down. I put all my stuff away. I sit down. The plane's about to take off. And like everybody's buckled in, everything. And I'm like, I think I'm going to throw up.
Yeah. Oh, huge power moment for you.
Yeah. So then, like, we are buckled in, we are taxiing the runway, and I'm just like, what am I going to do? So for the first time ever in my entire life, I pull out the barf bag, and I just, Greg and Jen literally like 6 inches in front of me, like as quietly as I could, just threw up in the plane.
Oh, was there someone sitting next to you?
There was nobody sitting. There was an empty seat and then somebody on the aisle.
Oh God,
oh my God, Joey. That is awful.
Joey, that's horrible.
I would never want to be a plane barfer.
I know, it was terrible. Literally terrible. Not to mention, then I have to come back. And then the second half of the most embarrassing part is that because I was in such a rush, I had to park in short-term parking, which means that I had to ask Nick.
Very expensive.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, Nick, I'm so sorry. I parked in short-term parking. This parking thing that I'm supposed to be reimbursed for is like $300. I was like, I'll split it with you guys. Half of it is my fault. I'll pay for the half of it if you guys reimburse me for the other half. And Nick was just like, it's fine. Just be careful next time. Just take the Uber.
Here's the thing. You bring up a very important thing, right? You bring up you don't like to be that person who has to throw themselves on the mercy of the line and say, I'm so sorry, everyone, but can I please go because I'm about to miss my flight? Now, everyone hates that person. I hate that person, right? You know me, Tim. I'm like, who does this SOB think they are, that their time is more important than mine? Say your alarm, like get a nick time 2 hours ahead of time. Everyone hates that person until they are that person. And we've
That's
all
why be
been
cool
that
to that
person.
person.
You got to be
I
cool
feel like
to that
the
person.
world will just be better if
Would just
they're
be
not
cool.
you just got to assume they're not doing it on purpose. And like
Yes.
I truly believe that the amount of people that will fake it's not going to be enough to really cause any single person an issue. I just think we all just need to be, if someone's doing that, just immediately start making way for them. Let them get
Just let
by,
them go.
speed up this
Let them do
process.
it.
The last thing I want is to have to stand there paying attention to like what conversation's going on, like doing the thing at the end of the Dark Knight where it's like the bombs in your hand trying to decide like who to save or whatever. No, we don't need to do all that. Let's just agree now and let this person get to the fucking gate.
Yeah.
I wish so badly that I could just have an icon on top. Like, I wish we could have real life UI, or I had some sort of symbol or something above me that said, this person is really, really late. Please let them on, because I have such a hard time doing that, to the point, Tim, where I'm like, if I had cash, I would give everybody online cash right now. Like, I would just be handing out, like, here's 20, let me go. Here's 20, let me go. Like, that's how desperate I am, but I just fucking hate doing it because I feel like I don't know why I feel like if I skip them, then they have to miss their flight. Like, it's not that bad, Andy. They're gonna wait 3 more minutes, But to me, I'm so terrified of putting somebody like in that position. It sucks so bad.
It's an embarrassing position to put yourself in and have that. And this is why Nick Time exists. This is why I like to get to the airport, not because of things that I might do, but because of stuff like that, where I'm like, if someone goes, "Hey, sir, I'm so sorry, can I cut in front of you?" I think, well, I have 3 hours until my flight leaves. So yes, you could absolutely cut in front of me because I have literally nothing to do. You're not putting me out. I don't feel the stress. I can help you out in this particular situation.
There's
Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's a commercial on TV that's been airing recently, and yes, I said TV because I've been watching a lot because of the Braves playoff games and the NBA is back. And so I've been watching a lot of commercials just like on YouTube TV. And there's a really good commercial. I forget what the product is, but it's talking about don't become your parents.
Oh, Geico.
Yeah, the Geico one.
And it's the best. It's the best.
That moment reminds me of Nick so much because one of them is the guy walking up to the person at the airport and being like, "Hey, so when does Group B start boarding?" And the lady looks at her watch. She's like, in about 2.5 hours. He's like, "Okay, I'll go ahead and wait here then." Immediately I thought of Nick Time.
Dude, Andy, those commercials resonate with me so much for so many different. That's like the third or fourth one they've done. And the first one I laughed so hard I actually brought D back to the room. I was like, "Come in here, you got to watch." A woman with her throw pillows on the couch, and he's just trying to take a couple off. She's like, and he's like, no, look. Now you can sit on the couch. It's so funny. It's so good. I missed the only flight that I've ever come close to missing on work, and I've told this story before, but I think it's hilarious. This is an embarrassing moment because same thing, Joe. I worked at IGN. I think I'd been working there we were still in the Brisbane office. So it must have been a few years in, but not more than 2 or 3.
Also, I thought people meant Brisbane in Australia.
And so did I until I
first heard this.
Nope.
Yeah.
But it was confusing because we eventually got an IGN Australia, not in Brisbane, I believe.
It was because Ashley Burns used to live in Australia. She also used to work at IGN. So I just put that together. I was like, damn, they worked at the Brisbane? I didn't know they lived in Australia. That's wild.
No, Brisbane, California. Just like there's a Paris, California. A lot of people don't remember either. And I was on a trip. Though. I was on a trip to go see a UFC fight for the UFC game. And me and the old sports editor at the time used to smoke cigarettes. And it's one of those things where, like, if you can smoke a cigarette and when you're traveling, like in an airport, it's an amazing thing because you can't usually do that. You can't step outside or else you have to go through security. So we're in this bar in Chicago on layover to, I want to say, like Columbus, Ohio, I think is where we were going. But we flew in via Chicago or something like that. And there's a bar that lets you smoke inside. So we were just tying one on, having cigarettes and drinking. And I'm like, this is so
like Vegas.
Fun. It was
so novelty.
Amazing, right? And it's to the point I was like, what time is it? And I looked down and it was the flight was supposed to take off about a solid 10 minutes prior to this. And I'm like, oh shit, we better get over there. And the people there were so mad at us. They're like, "What happened?" And before, you know me, I was like, "Come up with something. Come up with something. Don't tell them the truth. Don't tell them the truth. Don't tell them the truth." And I said, "Sir, I'm a smoker," and we were smoking cigarettes in that bar because it was super cool, and we totally lost track of time. And like we did, but I was like, "But you guys didn't call for us," and like we called for you 5 times. You can't hear the call in a crowded sports bar. And I was like, so you're saying 50-50, right? Like 50% your fault, 50% my fault. We ended up having to sleep in a terminal because I was like, listen, I'm on a work trip. My boss is a cool guy, but if I don't have a good excuse for missing this flight, like I mean, they're flying like at this point, the company was flying. I think it was EA or whoever had the UFC license. I'm like, they're flying us out on their dime. They're not going to be very happy. So they worked with us like, sir, there's a flight that leaves at like 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. And this was like a red-eye flight. They're like, you can take it, but, and I was like, I can't get a hotel. I don't have any money, and I can't call Fran and be like, hey, can I have a hotel? So they were like, well, we'll book you on this. And I'm like, can I sleep in the terminal? And she was like, I guess. And so me and the sports editor got new tickets because I was like, okay, it's a 2-hour flight. So if we can get there, we can still get there by like 11 to make the press event, which I think started at like 1. I was like, this is perfect. No one will be any the wiser. Ended up sleeping in a terminal in Chicago O'Hare Airport for like 6 hours. And when I sleep, I mean finding a place where I could maybe lay down because all of the chairs didn't really accommodate for it. There was like one chair that didn't have a middle thing, so I was like curled up on a little two-seater. Meanwhile, someone's vacuuming next to me, like, what the fuck is happening?
This is Nick Scarpino doing this. Like, I can't even, for the extent that I've known you, I can't imagine you dealing with this.
No.
Like, I'm not even saying dealing with it well. I just mean dealing with it at all.
No, so we booked.
Because Nick's the first person, if you don't like the accommodations, you're out. You're like, I'll get my own hotel. I'll find my own thing.
Yes, this was before I was able to do that for myself. This was still Nick Scarpino, like, I'll share a room. I don't care. It's just fun to travel and hang out and smoke cigarettes. But the kicker of this whole thing was we are there for 7 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we still have I still have a half pack of cigarettes. So I'm like, why don't we go back out through security, find a restaurant out there or something that's open, and we'll just smoke more cigarettes out there. Meanwhile, in the back of my brain, I'm like, if you missed the 7 o'clock flight because you're smoking cigarettes again. Yeah, oh my God. We ended up making it. It was super fun. It was an interesting trip. Not worth it. God. Don't smoke, kids. Don't smoke, kids. Anyone have any other embarrassing stories they'd like to tell?
I do have another one that I thought of that I don't remember if I've told this on the show. I can't imagine I haven't, but it's definitely been a while. But, we are lucky enough to be in this position that we get to meet thousands of people over time, and like so many amazing best friends, so many amazing like coworkers and, people in the industry, various industries, whole bunch of cool stuff. But it's kind of hard to like put names to faces sometimes, especially the amount of meet and greets that we've done. Like we are a very active company of like trying to meet as many people as we can, that like there's a lot of times I'm like, okay, I know this face, I know this name, I know this username, but I don't necessarily know all three together of who this is, when, where, why, all that stuff, right? So contextually, sometimes I'll be in places where I'm like, okay, I'm at PAX East, and I'll see somebody, and I'm like, oh, I saw them at last PAX East. This is the person that I'm talking to. I understand this, and it all kind of comes together. Mm-hmm. Simultaneous to all of that, there are these moments that are much more infrequent, but when I'm with people that I've known longer, like my core group of friends that I grew up with, or, kind of just like family or whatever the hell it is, and they are unaware of this life, of how weird all of our lives are. And every once in a while, I'll get recognized by somebody, normally at a Red Robin or a Chipotle or something like that, maybe a Best Buy. And if I'm with a friend, they're always like, what the fuck? They know who you are? Like, that's crazy. Like, I didn't know that, like, and this was a couple years ago too. It was just like, before like influencers were as common as they are nowadays. But it's always like a fun moment that feels good for me, for my friends to be like, holy shit, like, people
no, there's nothing better than that.
It's really awesome.
Are you kidding me? As a side note, there was one when we left IGN for the first time, the first month. Do you remember there was like a weird uptick where we were like, people were writing news stories about us? I got recognized all over San Francisco, and I'm like, this is awesome. I hope it stays like this forever. And then after month 3, I never got recognized in the city. One kid pulled over while I was with D, because D was always like, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to get another job. A kid made his mom pull over. And this kid's like 12 years old. He's like, are you the producer / seducer, Nick Scarpino? I was like, I sure am, kid. And he's like, can I get a picture with you? And I looked at my wife and I was like, yeah, this is forever. Get used to it. I'm a huge celebrity right now. Never happened again after that.
Look, here's the thing. It's the absolute best. I would say that, Corona has totally changed this entire experience. But like 2-3 times a month I'll be somewhere and somebody like walks up to me that I've met before, or maybe I haven't met them before, but like they watch the content and whatever, and it's awesome. But you combine all these elements, and it was around Kind of Funny Live 2. And it was like maybe it was that weekend or something, and I was in downtown San Francisco with a very big group of my friends for like one of their birthdays, and we're all hanging out, we're eating dinner, and this guy comes up to our group and it goes, Tim Geddes. And I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And like, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be like supportive and cool. Yeah. And the whole entire group is just like, holy shit, it's happening. Like, this is crazy. Like, Tim's talked about this, but a lot of them, they haven't seen it. And I was like, hey, like we're going back and forth. And he's like, how you been? I'm like, oh, it's good. Like, whatever, just small talk.
Right.
And he wasn't going away. Like, he was standing there, like, still part of the conversation. And it got to the point that I was racking my brain. I'm like, I know your face. Like, I know you. And I was trying to think, like, where do I know you from?
Oh, no.
And so I tried my best. And I was just like, hold on. Did I meet you at, was it PAX West or Prime back then? Like, was it PAX Prime? Was up in Seattle? And he goes, what? He's like, what? And I'm like, well, hold on. What was it? Like, where do I hate
this.
And then he was like, what do you mean? I was like, hold on. I was like, sorry, tell me your name again. And he was like, Alex. And I was like, fuck, okay, that doesn't help. And I was like, oh, hey, like, good seeing you, whatever. He goes, you don't know who I am, do you?
Oh, the call out is the worst.
Oh, and he called me the fuck out, and I was like,
I hate being called out. Don't call him out.
Oh, I don't mind it. Because at that point, the jig is up, and I'm like, this cool. I'm just gonna tell you what I really think now. Like, yeah, I don't mind it. I'm like, thank God, the stress is gone. I've been caught. Andy.
Here's the problem, though, Nick. Here's the problem. I wasn't just caught. I was caught in front of my whole group of friends.
Yeah.
So it
and
was
your
just
friends
like
would be relentless.
They were fucking
James
ruthless.
And Curran.
They're all making fun of me where they're just like, do you see this asshole Tim? Where he just assumes this person is a fan of his? And I was like, first off, it's not like that. Be fucking cool. I didn't do anything weird. I'm talking to somebody. I'm trying my fucking best. But whatever. He looks at me and he goes, I'm Alex Labascio. Dude, I played trumpet. I sat next to you for like 4 years in high school.
No.
And immediately I'm like, oh my God, Alex. Yes, of course you are. I know you so well. Yep. I legitimately sat next to you for at least a class every semester for 4 years.
Tim, it's one of those where you're like, I have no excuse to feel this way right now. I know you.
I had an excuse. It's not a good one, but I had one. And this is what I said to this man's face.
I like this excuse.
I was like, to my credit, it's not my fault. You don't have a Facebook or any social media.
Right.
So and I was like, you're one of the 5 people that do not. And I'm like,
you don't have a name to face thing.
I was like, you might as well not exist. And that was the moment that made me realize, like, if you're not on social media, holy shit, you just don't exist to a whole world of people that have moved on together. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because that would have been like, what, 10 years that you hadn't seen him?
Yeah, Dread, so shake him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh.
I mean, yeah, at this point, this is the problem, Tim, is you're getting older, right? So, like, that kid probably remembers you, but you've met so many people since then. And we, on average, when we go to conventions, everyone listening, you have to understand, we'll meet hundreds of people. You will interact with hundreds of people during conventions. I mean, just the meet and greet, and it's awesome to meet everyone, and it's great when I see someone that I'm like, please don't take offense to it. If I recognize you, but I don't remember exactly like where we saw each other from, like we're trying to. I'm like, oh shit, like, but I'll usually be honest with them, like, where did we meet? Like, I'll see someone, I'm like, I think I remember this person. Where did we meet before? And then usually everyone that listens to our stuff is like, oh yeah, we met here. Don't worry about it. Not a big huge deal. But I had one interaction like that one time at E3 where I was talking to someone for a solid 20 minutes. And I thought he was a totally different person than he was. And I was like, wait a minute. I called him by the wrong name. And he goes, wait a minute. Did you just call me this name? And I was like, wait, I'm sorry. Like, I called you the wrong name. At this point, I'm panicking. Now I'm starting to sweat, Andy. Now I'm starting to sweat. And he, instead of being like, let's go through the emotions of, I'm kind of offended, but I get it. You might have been drinking and or you meet a lot of people. He went all the way to the opposite side with it. He goes, how do you not remember me? We worked at IGN together for like 2 years. And I was
I
like,
hate that shit though.
Nah,
I was
fuck
like,
that. Fuck that.
it's been a long year. And then he just walked away, and I was like,
Oh.
I was like,
Dude.
and then I swear to God, Andy, I swear to God, like 10 seconds later, I thought of it, and I was like, just say it anyway. You can't hear. I was like, well, I remember you now.
Dude,
He didn't hear it. He didn't hear it. It wasn't a cool response.
Word of advice to anybody who may meet somebody that you
Tell
are
me
like
who
a
you
fan
did.
of, or people that you listen to their podcast. Never assume that they recognize you. Always reintroduce yourself. I always make it a point to reintroduce myself to people that may not know me.
Even in the industry, if I meet someone that I know is not
1000%.
a fan, but they're like, they work at like EA or something, and I see, or they're like high up in Microsoft, I'm like, I don't expect these people to remember me.
Yeah.
Tim, maybe, because he's podcasted much times. But to me, so I'll be like, hey, I'm Nick Scarpino. I work over with Greg and Tim. Kind of funny. That I'll just give people, and people usually go, I know you are, Nick. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'll just, I give them that, because I never want, or for God's sake, people, if someone goes, oh, hey, what's going on? This is my friend Tim. And then your friend goes, hey, I'm Tim. Who are you? Say your name. That means we don't remember who you are.
Say your name, please.
That means I can't. I'm struggling to figure out what your name is. I might know your social security number, but again, names just go. I get scared, and then it goes, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Always reintroduce yourself. There are some people that I remember for zero reason at all. Like it's 100%. There are some people that like we only talked for 5 minutes and I don't know why. It's not like anything super crazy happened. I just kind of like easily remember that. Like if a person walks up and is like, hey, my name is Skylander Johnson. Like I'll be like, wow, I remember your name because that's such a unique, weird name. I'm going to keep that in the recesses back for whatever reason. That's a silly ass name. But there are a lot of people that don't even have crazy names that I still remember for no reason. And there's people that, again, I've said this many times, that I used to work at Rooster Teeth with and would see them every goddamn day and talk to them every goddamn day. And then I see them at RTX and I'm like, why am I blanking on your name? I talk to you all the fucking time. Yeah. I'm just awful. My brain is just terrible when it comes to retention.
It's hard to retain stuff like that. And I don't think people should take offense. I don't take offense to it when people don't know or can't remember who I am. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've been called Tim.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But part of me is like, it's great. He's taller. I'll take that.
All right. It's all about unlocking things. Like, because the thing is, the memories are here, but it's the more you give us, the more we give you. It's we can kind of figure it out. Like, oh, okay, this name, this place, this time. It's like you can put yourself there, and you're like, okay, I totally remember now.
I forget who it was. I think it was a Comic-Con or an E3. I want to give a shout out to the celeb that did this, but I'll never forget. It was standing in a room with someone that was like super famous, and introductions were made, and it was to the point where I'm like, well, I should say something because I'm like standing here. And before I had an opportunity, the person turned to me and introduced themselves to me, and I was like, that's the coolest move ever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, imagine if, I'll just
RDJ.
Yeah, like Robert Downey Jr. Hey, I'm Robert, right? That's the nicest thing you could possibly do to someone. That's like, I was cool. I was like, I remember, I'm like, from now on, I'm going to do that. I'm never going to assume people know who I am, even though obviously everyone knows who these people are. But like, people of my stature, odds are nobody knows who the hell I am. So I always think to myself, introduce yourself, say your name, say where you're from.
It goes such a long way, man.
Podcast listeners, since last episode was so short, I'm gonna say my most embarrassing moment right here to extend it past the usual time.
Last episode was at least 5'8". That's a good length.
Above average. 5'7" is pretty average.
In different places.
I think I've alluded to this before.
Oh, God.
I'm so excited.
But it's something that I've been like very hesitant to say.
I have to pee, but I want to hear this whole story, so I'm just gonna hold it in. It's gonna hurt.
I am on dating apps.
Oh,
and
I already love this story.
I open up my Bumble app and I match with a lady. And first off, I'm really bad at reading bios. Let me just throw that out there real quick. I just like swipe right, swipe left, swipe right, swipe left. And she asks me, "Hey, why are you dressed in that photo? Why do you have a guitar and a suit on?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going to have to explain what KindaFunny prom is."
Oh, God.
So I go, I work for an internet thing. We had an event and a bunch of like people that listen to our podcasts and stuff came out, and I performed on stage. It was this thing. And she goes, "Oh, kind of funny." I'm like, that's it. What the fuck? And at this point, I'm panicking. I'm like, God, are you somebody in like the
What's
games
happening?
industry that maybe I shouldn't have matched with? Like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'd feel weird about shit like that. And she goes, "My boyfriend loves you all." I'm just gonna let that sentence just sit there.
That is
not what I was expecting.
That is tenuous.
My boyfriend loves you all. And immediately my heart goes, "Oh, fuck." And I go to her profile, open relationship, polyamorous.
Got it.
Looking for a dude to bang or a dude to join them.
Well, I mean, this went from the candle might go out to, oh, that's a raging fire. Let's blow this bad boy out with our
God.
And immediately my body is just hot
Fight or
and cold
flight.
at the same time. I'm just like, oh my God, I want to vomit like Joey in the airplane right now. And I immediately hit her back up and I go, "Hey, I did not know this was a poly thing. I'm so sorry. I'll have to bid you adieu.
Yes.
Goodbye. Like I'll talk to you later." And she goes, "Oh, dang. Oh, okay, that's fine. Like, makes sense. Understandable." I'm like, "All right, goodbye." And then I just closed the app. And then I woke up to a message the next day. I didn't unmatch, and I should have unmatched. And I wake up to a message the next day. "Hey, so like, are you sure you don't want to like do this? Because like my boyfriend would be really stoked if you and I like had a thing." And I was just like, I want to fucking perish right now.
My God.
I want to be 6 feet under. This feels awful.
That's
And I just had to be like, "No, haha, I'm good. Thank you though." Unmatch. And like I was like, why didn't I not unmatch last night? I was just like I was in fear. I felt like felt like the longer I had my phone open that I was being watched.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Gosh.
it was a horrifying feeling. And it was definitely weird.
Kudos to you for having boundaries because that's a very, very important thing to have. Just like having time constraints, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of ours here on this podcast.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That was really good. That was really good, Nick.
So bad.
Andy, that was a fantastic end to the episode, though.
Great story, Andy. I'm nervous for you. I need like air conditioning on me right now. I'm sweating for you right now.
I have told like friends about that, but I was just like, I did not want to. I was like, you know what? I'm not even revealing an identity. Who cares? If that person's listening, they might know, oh, they're talking about me, but whatever. It's
nobody did anything
for you.
Yeah, nobody did anything wrong on their side.
Yeah.
They were being open and honest with you, and you were like, I have to be honest back. And sometimes that's unfortunate because it's an awkward situation. But hey, better that than you doing what I would have probably done in your case, which is got so embarrassed. I don't know what I would have done. But I would have got myself deeper and deeper embroiled in this until. Oh God, it would have been the worst. Good for you, Andy. Good for you. That's a funny story. Very nice, wholesome story to round out the episode with, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoyed it very much. If you're new to this and you stuck around and you heard that and you liked it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/KindaFunny. If you're an audio-only listener, hey, go over there and subscribe also because we do lots of cool stuff over there. Lots of reacts content, lots of visual stuff. Like, hey, if you've never seen a man fall, Kevin can fall. That boy can take a spill. You're gonna want to see us. And I guarantee it won't be the last time we go over that clip. And of course, if you're a Patreon member right now, we thank you very much for your support. We're about to head into our Patreon only post show right now. Bye.